When you move to a foreign country, there is a steep learning curve about many aspects of moving abroad. Welcome back to the channel. This is Charmel and Grecia sharing information about moving to Costa Rica. One of the things that can be confusing and frustrating is paying utility bills because things change all the time. So, in the United States, we get our bills in the mail or by email, and then we go to our online bank accounts and we pay those bills. But here in Costa Rica, you may not get an email about your utility bill because the utility bill is not going to be in your name if you're a renter. And there is no such thing as mail delivery in Costa Rica. Nobody has a mailbox outside their house, and nobody has a street address. So if you are renting when you first move to Costa Rica, and most people do move here and rent for a year or two before they buy or build a house, the utility bills are not going to be in your name. They're going to be in your landlord's name. There is no such thing as a gas bill. But your electricity bill and your water bill are going to be in your landlord's name while you are renting. Now, the water bill is usually not a problem. Water is abundant in Costa Rica. Water is everywhere. There are waterfalls and rivers and canals everywhere. And municipalities have their own water supplies, and even neighborhoods within municipalities have their own water supply. Where I live here at El Canal, we have our own water supply. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I do know that it's very inexpensive. So everybody pays like $10, $11, or $12 each month for their water, just for the use of water. And there's no taxes or fees attached to all that. And so in the case of renters, usually the renters just pay that a little bit of extra water bill when they pay their rent. It's just part of their monthly rent payment. Now, electricity is a little bit different. It is in your landlord's name, and you either go to the electricity office or you pay for it through your online bank account. Now that seems simple, and it seems like, eventually we could get that all figured out, but things change all the time, so the confusion continues, especially since instructions are in Spanish. For those of us who don't speak much Spanish, it's just a steep learning curve. So now the Wi-Fi can be in your own name, and I lived here for months before I figured out that my Wi-Fi provider was the same company as my electricity provider. I knew they were in the same building, but I didn't know that they were actually the same company. But paying my Wi-Fi bill has never been a problem because I just go in there into the office, and they look it up and tell me how much I owe, and I use my Schwab debit card to pay for it. And then the same thing, I can give them the electricity account number for my landlord and pay that electricity bill every month. So, I go to the office, the electricity office and the Wi-Fi office once a month at least, more often if I have questions. But recently I opened a bank account about 2 months ago so that I could pay these bills online, thinking that surely this would be more simple. And the first time that I paid the utility bills online, it was very simple because I was at the bank. The bank set it up for me, and the bank actually paid the first bills. So today, when I went to pay the bills, paying the Wi-Fi bill was no problem because it's in my name, and I just checked the box and paid the amount that was due, and that was fine. But when it came to paying the electricity, which is in my landlord's name, I got an error message. The error message was in Spanish, and I tried to determine exactly what that error message meant, and I really, really struggled to try to pay that electricity bill on time. And finally, I just took myself back downtown to the ESA office, the electricity office, and asked for some help. Now, they could not figure out why I got that error message either. And so they suggested that I ask the bank. So I'll be making another trip to the bank about how to pay this electricity online. I did have a question about the Wi-Fi bill because the first 6 or 7 months that I lived here, the Wi-Fi was like 20 colones, which is the equivalent of 40 USA dollars for Wi-Fi every month. But then, about the same time I opened up the bank account, the Wi-Fi cost jumped to 40 colones every month, which is about $80. So while I was down there today, I asked them about it, and the lady was real nice, and she said the first 6 months that I lived here, I had a 50% discount on my Wi-Fi every month. But now that had passed, was no longer in effect, but that she could offer me a 40% discount. Did I want a 40% discount? And I said, yes, that would be very nice. So she put that into place. Also, when you go into the office, sometimes there is a line of people waiting to pay their bills. Now, they have chairs, and everybody gets a number. And every time they give me a number, it always starts with the letter S. I think that means senior citizens, because the senior citizens sometimes get to jump ahead of everybody else who's waiting in line to pay their bills if they're like me and they couldn't figure out how to do it online. So today it was rather crowded, and it looked like I would need to wait about 20 minutes for my turn, even though I had a number that started with an S. And so this very nice Tico gentleman, he was very polite. When his number was called, he tapped me on the shoulder and insisted that I take his number and that he take my number so that I could go ahead and he would be the one to wait 20 minutes. Maybe he could tell that I was a foreigner, that I didn't speak much Spanish, and that I might need a little bit of a special attention. Anyway, it was very kind, nice, and polite. And most of the time, Ticos here are a lot like that, I have found. So again, I don't know exactly what that error message was about for the electricity. I'm going to figure it out. Eventually, I'm going to get this down. Now, I'll tell you what doesn't help when you're trying to get the hang of things, when you've moved to a foreign country and you don't speak the language. It does not help if your landlord is impatient. What you really need when you're renting is a patient landlord, not for when you just first move here and you're unfamiliar with everything and you're learning the language, but really a landlord that you have a good relationship with and a good communication system with for the entire time that you're renting. Because if your landlord gets frustrated and says something like, well, I've already told you that 2 times, or I've already told you that 3 times, and you're already frustrated and you're trying to pay your bills and you don't speak the language, it just does not help if that's the attitude of your landlord. Now, that doesn't happen very often, thank goodness. Most of the landowners here, the Ticos, and some gringos are landowners also who rent their properties. But most of them are so thrilled that you're trying to pay your bills rather than trying to get you to pay your bills, that they're just thankful and very, very helpful. I know that when I've had renters at some of the properties that I've had, I was just so thankful if somebody paid their bill, their rent bill, or whatever they owed, even if it wasn't on time, if they would just pay it at all so that I didn't have to, give them hassle them about it or give them a hard time about paying their bills. So anyway, most of the time it's a very easy, simple process to pay your bills. And the more that we live here, the more we learn how to do it quickly and efficiently. And eventually I'm going to get the hang of it, and as I'm sure everybody else has after moving to Costa Rica. But I'm just, in my 9th or 10th month. So I still struggle, especially when things change, like when the cost of my Wi-Fi doubles. If you have additional information, please put it in the comment section. Pura vida, ciao.